People have been making assumptions, whispering things, and creating stories about my life and marriage for a long time. I didn't say much. I reasoned that the truth would speak for itself if I remained silent. However, quiet can lead to confusion, and occasionally people start to trust the noise rather than the reality. I simply want to talk today at 61 because I owe it to the people who have helped me through every stage of my life, not because I'm angry or to dispel rumors. I've discovered that maintaining quiet doesn't always equate to peace. Standing in the truth, even when it's difficult, can sometimes lead to serenity. Together, my spouse and I have experienced both the good and the bad, both calm storms and cheers. And I believe it's time to express thanks and honesty in order to finally and definitively clear the air. Guy Penrod's remarks were intended to serve as a reminder rather than to defend or clarify. There is a real man, a real marriage, and an enduring tale of faith behind each song and stage light. At 61, he opted for a new response, quiet truth delivered with grace after years of people talking and making assumptions. His message was straightforward. Love must be experienced in private rather than demonstrated in public. He and his spouse were busy clinging to each other while everyone else was busy speculating, through loudness, distance, and the calm strength that comes only from God. Her decision to avoid the limelight was one of tranquility rather than absence. Furthermore, he chose to talk for clarity rather than attention. Their story serves as a reminder that marriage and faith are about tenacity rather than perfection. When relationships are based on trust and prayer, they last longer than rumors. Every obstacle they encountered only served to deepen their relationship, which fame could never sever. Anyone listening can learn a peaceful lesson from Guy's story. You don't need to shout the truth to the world when it resides in your heart. The wrong voices will finally stop speaking. The right people will see it. Love only needs perseverance to be genuine. It doesn't require praise. As this chapter comes to an end, the world may forget the rumors, but it will never forget the grace of a man who put love and honesty above all else. Because often the most powerful witness is lived quietly at home, rather than being sung on stage. Setting the scene, his marriage, career, and life. I can't help but smile as I reflect about my adventure. I have always expressed my religion, love, and everything in between via music, which has always been a part of who I am. My life has been filled with blessings beyond my wildest dreams, from singing in church as a young child to performing on stage with the Gaither Vocal Band. However, there has always been one person, my wife, behind every song and every moment in the spotlight. From the start, she has been my silent pillar of support. She saw the man who returned home exhausted and occasionally unsure, while the rest of the world saw the singer. She had no interest on the stage and no desire to be noticed or commended. She was happy to raise our kids, maintain a loving and joyful home, and be the quiet one in the background. She was my biggest supporter and my prayer warrior. However, as the years went by and my career developed, people started to notice that she was not in the public eye, which is when the rumors began. The origin of the rumors. Like many rumors, it began modestly. She wasn't at a concert, as someone noted. We hadn't been pictured together in a long time, someone else said. These little observations were then transformed into presumptions by social media. One headline that comes to mind is Guy Penrod and wife separated. Another said she was suffering from illness. Some claimed that we had discreetly parted ways. It was all untrue. However, rumors tend to spread more quickly than the facts. The most difficult aspect was not seeing my name online, but I've come to terms with it. The most difficult aspect was seeing my kids ask me questions and wonder why their mother was being disparaged. We choose not to reply. We trusted God, prayed, and thought that eventually the truth would triumph over rumors. However, I discovered that silence might occasionally be interpreted as confirmation. The effect of notoriety on families. Being in the spotlight isn't as simple as it seems. Opportunities come with fame, but there is also pressure to be flawless, to smile all the time, and to constantly justify oneself. I spent years traveling nonstop, singing in cities and at night. She was at home, maintaining the house, the children, and the life we created while everyone applauded me. There were moments when there was a physical rather than an emotional difference between us. You could never get back the tranquil evenings, family dinners, and birthdays I missed. Without protesting, she bore the burden of it all. And despite our intense love for one another, there were times when we both felt the pressure. That is the reality. No marriage is perfect, and ours wasn't either. But our faith was what gave it strength. We never allowed the cacophony of the outside world to overpower our inner conviction that God had placed us together for a purpose. The point of breaking. It all got to be too much one night, as I recall. There was a lot of conversation on the internet, and people were phoning us with queries that we were too tired to respond to. Should we say something? I inquired, glancing at my wife. Should I upload anything on the internet? Let them talk, Guy, she murmured with a gentle grin that I will never forget. A microphone is not necessary for the truth. I was really affected by the moment. She reminded me that true serenity comes from understanding who you are, not from trying to explain yourself to other people, whereas I was under pressure to defend myself and make things right. Her serenity brought back memories of my initial feelings for her. That evening, I put the stories out of my mind and began concentrating on the fact that we both knew the truth, what he ultimately verifies. This is the answer to the question that everyone has been asking. Yes, I still live with my wife. Even though our marriage hasn't been flawless over the years, it has been genuine. There isn't a hidden narrative or secret split. She just decided to live a more sedate life. She doesn't want attention or fame. She has a purpose without needing to be visible. She has always played a supporting role in raising our family, praying for me, and maintaining the foundation of love in our home. People thought the worst when they didn't see her at occasions. However, the reality is straightforward. She was at home, where she had always desired to be. She is my biggest supporter, my sounding board, and my partner in everything. She is a part of the message of every song I sing about love, faith, and hope. I can honestly sing about Grace on stage because I've experienced it with her. Faith's place in their journey. Faith is the one thing that has sustained our marriage over the years. Faith that God can bring about peace even in the midst of chaos. Trust that forgiveness is more powerful than annoyance. And trust that love can endure everything if it is grounded in something greater than ourselves. We've had periods of uncertainty, weariness, and even quiet times. However, we have always found our way back through prayer. I frequently assert that learning to hold hands in the rain is more important for marriage than avoiding storms. That's exactly what my wife and I have done. And each storm has strengthened us. Our story is full of grace rather than glitz. And that's sufficient. The gospel community's and fans' reaction. I had no idea what to anticipate when I eventually revealed these facts. I was prepared for criticism or doubt. Instead, I got love in the form of messages from friends, fans, and even complete strangers expressing gratitude for my candor. Many said it served as a reminder to fight for their own marriages, to trust that every couple has their own struggles, and to stop believing everything they read. Other gospel singers have expressed their understanding of striking a balance between private life and public ministry. It served as a reminder that everyone needs grace occasionally, even those who lead worship. Seeing how truth, when delivered with humility, might heal more than just my own heart was both beautiful and humble. The conclusion and lesson. At 61, I've discovered that truth doesn't have to be loud. It only needs to be lived. And I can say this with calm now that the air is finally clear. The affection is still there, but the rumors have subsided. The quiet power behind every song I've ever sang, my wife has always been my greatest blessing. Every day I give thanks to God for providing me with a woman who has the strength to remain silent in the face of the world's cries. Her faith showed me what true strength looks like, the sort that perseveres, not the kind that performs. Thus, while the rumors did exist, the truth now does as well. We remain here, unified and appreciative. Because in the end, what God knows to be true in your heart matters more than what the outside world thinks of you. And that fact will always be sufficient.